They're here.
So yeah, at first, I just didn't know what to do.
At first, Daddy was confused.
I didn't know it was going to affect people in Nassau and Freeport.
And then I told him it was just the first 3 numbers.
Our new phone numbers have arrived, but there is no need to be afraid. Only the first 3 numbers have changed. The new numbers are in effect now.
Several people questioned for the murder of Kurt McCartney.
We continue to follow leads.
The PSA calling for a meeting with the police commissioner and government officials.
The officers want to know where are we.
Principals throughout the country calling for security to be beefed up at public schools, plus the return of the iconic conch sculpture.
You're going to have millions of people seeing it.
We've got those stories and more for you tonight. I'm Nakia DeVoe, and this is NB12 Weekend. Everyone, thanks for joining us this Saturday. Here's what's coming out of the NB12 newsroom this weekend. New details emerging tonight into the shocking murder of DNA leader Branville McCartney's brother, Kurt McCartney. This as police today made a public plea to anyone with information on the businessman's murder. Our Jasmine Bonamy has more in tonight's top story.
Police say since their investigations began Thursday night, several people have been in and out of custody for questioning. Police today confirming that they are following several leads that have emerged since the murder on Thursday night, but they need more, according to Superintendent Stephen Dean. McCartney was murdered around 8:30 Thursday night. Police say when they arrived on the scene, the businessman was found face down with multiple gunshot wounds to the upper body. He was pronounced dead at the scene. This morning, Assistant Commissioner of Police Anthony Ferguson confirmed investigators have questioned a number of people over the past 48 hours. However, he added that no arrests have been made, as there has been no tangible evidence for police to at this time press charges. NB12 understands that among those being questioned are 2 men ages 40 and 35 and 2 teenage girls ages 17 and 19. All of whom are residents of Gambert Village. During a press briefing this afternoon, Dean said while leads have been trickling in, police believe there are still others out there who may know why McCartney was killed.
A number of people of interest have been in and out of custody. We continue to do so. We continue to follow leads. If someone calls us and tells us they believe Paul, Peter was involved, we do follow the matter. Our detectives are on the ground picking up people as the infant. We have a number of names to follow behind. And as we find those persons, we bring them into custody. So it's around the clock, and I must tell you that our detective, we have a dedicated committed detective who are assigned to this matter, and we believe based on the lines of inquiries that we are following, we will bring this matter to successful closure. But we believe that we cannot do it without the public.
If you have any information on McCartney's murder, police are asking you to contact them at 911-919 or CDU investigators at 502-9991.
We believe that there are members of the public or persons out there who have vital information, pieces of the puzzle to cause us to bring this case to closure. This is not time to point fingers to find out why it might have happened. We are asking you to bring the information forward, to join together as one country. We believe that we can bring this matter to closure.
Police have yet to determine a motive for McCartney's murder. Reporting for NB12, I'm Jasmine Bonamy.
National Security Minister Dr. Bernard Nodded said if the Police Staff Association refers to legislation, it may make a more considered conclusion about whether to take legal action over compensation it feels officers are owed for working the new 12-hour shift. The PSA said it sent a letter to Prime Minister Perry Christie on October 11th outlining the law that dictates when government employees should receive overtime pay. Police have been working 12-hour shifts since early September as part of the government's new crime-fighting plan.
As I understand it, there's a message for the way they should go about doing the things that they're doing, and I advise them to use those methods.
Nottage has said he was not deaf to the concerns of the association, but the Commissioner of Police would advise him. He also thanked the police force for being cooperative and had this message for any officers who claim to be overworked or stressed.
Policemen have a stressful job, generally speaking. I think they are very well trained for their jobs. I think that in the main they perform their jobs creditably for our country. I know that on a personal level, I'm grateful to them for the cooperation that they have given us in what, as you would agree, was a time of great concern in the country, great sensitivity to violent crimes particularly, and so I thank them on a personal level, but particularly as the minister. I think that to an extent we have achieved that. It's not been perfect, but I think that things are a little different now from they were. I think that they ought to extract some degree of pride and some degree of achievement from what they have been able to do, or what we all have been able to do through cooperation. And I would advise that we continue to cooperate.
Asked whether any decision has been made to compensate officers for the extra time or offer them other benefits such as more days off, Nottage said no decision has been made either way. And in a separate interview, Prime Minister Christie said he has no interest in speaking with Smith over compensation.
The mere thought that he can independently speak to the Minister of Finance with respect to a matter without recourse to the minister responsible and the commissioner responsible is really clearly inconsistent with best practices, and most certainly it is something that I would have no interest whatsoever in doing until such time as he's able to follow the process.
Christie said he would not attempt to prevent the association from taking the matter to court. So we just heard what the Prime Minister and the National Security Minister had to say to the PSA, and yesterday the State Minister blasted the association, calling it politically motivated. Well, today PSA Chairman Dwight Smith says enough is enough. He told reporters that the PSA is tired of the back and forth, but will not sit quietly while members of the government insult them and continue to ignore the issues.
How do we get around the table? Now, maybe they may not feel coming around the table with the association, but here's my suggestion is still the same. Call a meeting with your officers and discuss the matter at large.
Smith said the association followed protocol, sending a letter to Police Commissioner Ellison Greenslade, then one to Dr. Nottage, and finally addressing a letter to Christie as the Minister of Finance. But according to Smith, the PSA has yet to hear any response regarding compensation for the 12-hour shifts. He says the government's obvious disregard for the officers' concerns is insulting. Smith says it is time for the war of words in the media to come to an end.
That if we can probably call a meeting with, the rightful thing, call a meeting with our officers and let's hear their cries. If you want to listen, if you don't want to be saying as you are deaf to the concerns, let us call a meeting. It don't have to be with the association, it could be with the officers. Find out what their concerns are as relates to the compensation. And then cause them to understand that we are not a part of the labor laws, if that's what you're saying.
The PSA president said the officers are most insulted by recent comments made by the State Minister for National Security. Keith Bell discussed the possibility of action being taken against PSA executives.
If he feels that we're going in breach, he needs not to go to the media. He needs not to go to the media. He needs not to go on a talk show. Mr. Bell, we're right here, just a couple of feet away from his office. He can come right here and as he's done before, and sat down with us and say, okay, listen, you in breach of it, but let me help you through it.
Yesterday, Bell also suggested that the PSA's actions and comments are politically motivated. He called the association an F&M tool, an accusation that Smith called absolutely ridiculous.
I haven't met with anybody from any other party to say the officers are this, the officers are that. I think they can do that themselves, because these officers are part of their constituency. I don't need to do that. I don't understand that.
Inspector Dwight Smith said the association is following due process but is getting nowhere. He says the PSA will not back down from its threat to take legal action over the compensation issue. Well, here's some good news tonight. Several iconic Bahamian sculptures will brighten the new airport gateway thanks to the efforts of Toby Smith and several others who were determined to restore and display the work by sculptor Stephen Burrows. And today we were on hand as the conch sculpture that was created back in 1980 was hoisted and installed at the roundabout at JFK Drive and the entrance to Westridge.
All right, well, they're doing the road improvement project, and it was up by the airport, and one day I noticed that it was missing, so I went to go find it, and I found it, and it was in the compound of Ministry of Works. I wrote a letter to Philip Brave Davis, I wrote a letter to Ryan Pinder, and they said sure enough that I could take it, restore it, and now I'm bringing it back for the Bahamian, give it back to the Bahamian people so they can enjoy it again, so we can enjoy it again.
We also saw the pigeon on our drive up here. Were you also responsible for that?
That's right, it's a cumulative effort.
Well, the heavy steel sculpture had to be lifted using a crane. That's where Neil and Dane Knowles came in. They said it took a lot of time and effort planning to get the sculptures from point A to point B, but it was all worth it.
It's an honor, it's a true honor to see the determination and the effort that Toby has done, and just to be a part of that and to see that just driving them through the town and bringing them to the location and taking them from the Ministry of Works and through Bay Street and, you know, to the place where Toby was doing all the repairs. I mean, just to see the excitement of the people, you know, and even bringing the conch out here this morning. I mean, we had people stopping us and taking pictures on the side. It's an honor. It's truly an honor.
Other sculptures by Burrows include the flamingo, lobster, rooster, rat bat, parrot, and the Pompeii. There are also others that were never publicly displayed, but Smith says hopefully with his help, all sculptures will be restored and displayed for the public.
There's some surprises coming out. So there's the trident trumpet shell. It's never seen the public's eye. I'm in the process of redoing that. There's going to be a steamroller down the road by Ministry of Works that I'm doing now. The rooster's going to get redone, and there's a dragon that's never seen the light of day either. It was built back in the 80s. Steve Burrows built all of these by himself, and I think it's time to give back.